Today we'll be doing Photoshop assignment 14. And if you go to the handout folder, J. Soretta, grade 10 photography, section C Photoshop, and look for assignment 14, there is a bunch of files in here that we are going to photo merge together. Okay, so we actually don't need this open, although there is the tutorial booklet here that I would suggest that you look at. It goes through all these steps in great detail. Okay, so the way we're going to do this, actually, since I have this open, probably will make more sense to put these files somewhere where they're easily accessible, such as your desktop. Okay, now what I'm going to do with Photoshop is it has an automated feature here that's going to make this a lot easier to do. I can go to File, there is an Automate, and something called Photo Merge. Okay, so I'll leave this as perspective, and I click on Browse to find the files that I'm going to need for this assignment, and they are all named Scene. Here they are. So I'm just going to hold Shift and click on all of these separate files that will be needed for this photo merge. And then what it's going to do is it's going to stitch them together. Okay, so just give that a minute or so. And there's the completed photo merge. So you can see how it stitched all of these photos together one at a time. Okay? So it's pieced them together. But now what we want to do is create one file out of this. So once it's stitched together, what you can do is we can just merge this down. So layer, merge visible, and we've created a scene here. Okay. Now I can see that there's some areas here that don't have any bit of the photo on it. So it's probably a good idea to take your crop tool, which is right here, and crop out the unnecessary parts of this photo. Okay, so something like that. Now we have something we can work with. So now what we're going to do is because this is a panoramic photo, and you will be taking panoramic photos when you go out with the camera, we're going to add some text here stating what this is. So what I'm going to do is add some fancy gold-plated text. So what I'm going to do is create a new layer, and I'm going to fill it with black. So reset my colors and Alt backspace. Okay. Then I'm going to select my text tool, draw a box on here, and I'm going to set this up to be Times New Roman. I'm going to set it to be bold. I'm going to make the text white. And all in capitals now, I'm going to type I think the text is a little too big here. Pick something a little smaller. There we go. Type in panorama. Okay. That's a decent size. Maybe I'll go a little bit bigger. 24 maybe. Okay, we're now going to turn this panorama into gold-plated text. So what we're going to do is once we have it set up like this, we're going to duplicate the text layer. Okay, so Command J. And then what we're going to do is on the layers style down here, we are going to bring this up, and we are going to add a gradient overlay. Okay? And now in this gradient overlay, what we're going to do is click on the gradient box to bring up the gradient editor. Okay? And we are going to change these colors. So we'll change this first color to B, and rather than using this time, I'm going to show you a different feature, which is using the RGB, or the red, green, blue, which allows you to define colors. So 247. For the green, 238. And for the blue, 173. Okay? When you have that done, click OK. Now let's change this one. And what we're going to change this one to is 193, 172, and 81. And click OK. So we got two different types of gold. Okay? Click OK to get back to here. We're going to change the style to reflected. And then what we're going to do is also select bevel and emboss. Notice I'm clicking on the word so that I change this panel. And I'm going to change this to chiseled hard. I'm going to change this to 171. I'm going to change this to 16. Leave the highlight mode as, for this gloss contour, we're going to change this to this one that has the two peaks. Okay, leave this as screen. That's good. De-alias. And I think that's about it. Okay, now last thing we're going to do is check off inner glow. And what we're going to do is change this color to be 232, 128, 31. Okay, click OK. Set this to 50%. Set this to multiply. Change this to 15. And click OK. Now, what we're going to do is on this original panoramic layer, go to that one, and we're going to add an effect to that as well. And what we're going to add is bring up our blending options. We're going to add a stroke to this one. Okay, so change this to 5. Leave this as outside. Make this a gradient. Set it to reflected. Whoops, not angle, reflected. And then, after we've set it to reflected, we want to change the gradient settings again. So the left one, we're going to set to 247, 238, 173, click OK. This one, I'm going to set to 193, 172, and 81. Okay, and then finally click OK. Now we're also going to check off bevel and emboss. And check off contour. And we're going to set this to stroke emboss. Chiseled hard. Set this to 201. Leave this as 5. Again here we're going to set it to that. Set this to 42. Use global light, leave on. Change this one to 21. And finally, the last thing we're going to do is add an outer glow to this other layer, okay? And what we're going to do is leave it as screen, set this to 50%, and we're going to modify this color to be 183. $145 and $79, and click OK. So you can see what kind of an effect that has added to it. Click OK. So you can see our glow effect and our text effect. Okay. Now we're going to add one more layer up at the top, and we're going to add some sparkles to this. So what we need to do is select our brush. Okay? And then from up here in our brushes panel, I want to hit this little flyout menu and go to assorted brushes. Click append, and then go through here. And the one that I'm looking for is this one right here. Okay, the crosshatch 25 pixel. And then what I'm going to do is paint random sparkles on this background. Okay, but what I would suggest doing is click on this color, and we want to sample something that's kind of gold colored from our text. Click OK. And you can go with various brush sizes, again, by using your square brackets beside the letter P. So you can make this bigger or smaller. So I'm just adding some sparkles. I'm just going to add some off the panoramic text too. And then when I'm done, I can turn off the black layer to get something like that. Now you're going to go File, Save As. You are going to call this your last name, underscore, assignment 14, save it to your desktop, and put it in the hand-in folder.